Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining DrupalTutor Live. My name is Wayne Aker. I am a longtime Drupal developer and a trainer. My courses are available at DrupalTutor.com, where I have courses for everyone from beginner Drupal users to Drupal developers. So, all right, in this live stream, I am building the new version of DrupalTutor.com. It's a little bit different than the courses because the courses are really sort of packaged material. They're really, A to Z, showing all the steps. Here, I'm doing it live, so bear with me. Not everything will be perfect as we go through this, but I think it's useful. Some people are interested in seeing how a real Drupal developer would tackle some of a complex site like DrupalTutor.com. Okay, so... Yeah, so we're already on episode 9, so we've gone through quite a lot of material. I mean, I guess we've gone through, we've got like, 12 or, at least 12 or 13 hours that we've done on this so far. So if you want to see the previous recordings, they're all available at DrupalTutor.com/live. That's also the place to go if you want to. You can subscribe there, enter your email address, and then I'll send out an email every week to tell you what I'll be working on, so you can decide if you want to tune in live to see me build whatever I'm building that week. That's also, if you watch live, it's also really useful because we do have the comment feature on YouTube, so feel free to use it. I can see the comments in real time, so if you have a question as we go through, use the comment feature, and I'll be happy to answer it. All right, so let's get started with this week. So last week we were building custom entity types for storing courses, sessions, and registration information for the sort of learning management part of the DrupalTutor website. And we didn't finish that. We got through, I think, most of the stuff we needed for courses. But we need to finish that up because we didn't actually do the sort of configurable fields. We only did the base fields. And then we need to do sessions and registrations. So I'm not going to go into quite as much depth. If you are new to custom entities and you're watching this video, either live or recorded, I talked a lot last week about the differences, and I went through all the files that we created and described what they do and how they work. Since I did that last week, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that this week. So I'm just going to go a little bit quicker so that we can get through all of these custom entities. So if you didn't see last week's, then you should definitely go back and pick that up at some point. All right. So, okay. So last week, so last week we got through the course entity type, and we created the custom entity. We gave it the base fields that all course entities will need. Just as a reminder, a course is not a specific instance of a class. It is just sort of the overall course description for some curriculum that exists. So it's like building websites with Drupal 8. A session is when it meets at a particular time, and then a registration is when a user is connected to that one meeting, that session. So the courses is a entity type that has bundles, and which is subtypes of the entity type. The bundles for a course type is single and bundle, which is a little confusing because we had the bundle has two meanings here, but this is like a course bundle, like you buy a prepackaged 4 courses, and it's like usually a cheaper price. So that's what a course bundle is versus a single course. So if we look back at the TSD, make this a little bit bigger. Oh, wait, this is the wrong. Okay, so we do have some fields here that we need to add for the courses. They aren't base fields, but we need them to store the data that we will have about these courses. So let's go in and do that first, just to finish the courses up, and then we'll go on to sessions. So we need, so we're working on singles. So let's go to manage fields, and you see we have no added fields here. So everything in the TSD that is, it starts with field underscore and its machine name, we need to create that, because the other ones are all the base fields, the ones that don't have that, and we've already done that. So we need to start by adding a paragraph field called content, and it is field paragraphs. I don't know if that's really what I want to call it, but I think I might prefer to call that field content. Yeah, which it already is, so we'll leave it there. Okay, I think this might be a mistake we made. Last week. Let's see, did it add it? So it added it. Okay, so when we added it, this was fine. I'm not sure. We did do something with a hidden, let me just see. We had like a hidden plugin last week, but I don't think it was actually a field plugin. I think it was just I think we did have something here that was hidden. Yeah, for the weight. This may not be correct. So so this was an integer. Do we have another example? Integer. Actually, I think we can just leave it out. So let's just, I think this set display options, that hidden plugin may not be valid. Okay, so this is fine. The form display here, we just need to set this up to layout paragraphs. All right, and okay, so we'll go back to manage fields and let's add the next one. We have field version, which is for the supported versions of this class. This is a taxonomy term reference, and I call it supported versions, though I called the machine name just version to keep it a little shorter. It is going to allow more than one selection, because we now have expanded the concept of this so that it is for PHP as well as Drupal supported versions. All right, good. We didn't get the error message again, so that's hopefully that other issue's fixed. Now we need field teaser, which is just a short snippet version description of what this is, what this course is. We need a thumbnail, which is a media reference. And what did I call that? Just, yeah, field thumbnail. Okay. Again, this will be used. This should only be an image. This will be used in the display. Like we'll probably have a little card or something with like the teaser and the picture. All right, and the course length and the webinar description. So these are two text fields that just describe, where I just write in short text like how long the course is or how many webinars you get. So usually it'll say like it'll say like 4 weekly webinars or something like that. That's the phrase. So we just need to add those. Those are field course length, field webinar description. They're both just plain text. And all right. Okay, free trial course. So I only have this implemented for one course at DrupalTutor.com, but the idea is there are some courses that are just a free trial of another course. So I have that for building websites with Drupal 8. You can take like the first hour, but that's technically like a different course because it's just a shortened one. And actually, I don't know if that's... I don't know if that's the way I want to do it anymore. I'm gonna skip this field because maybe I'm gonna think about that. Maybe I don't really want to do it that way because it's kind of like a lot of work to do it that way. So if you make an update one thing, you got to update the other, and it's sort of annoying. So maybe I will not do it that way. Let's so we'll skip it. The hosting configuration. Now let's skip that one because we haven't done hosting yet. We haven't got any sort of data for the hosting, so we're going to skip it. We have to skip the lesson schedules because, again, we don't have any of the scheduling. We're going to have to create a custom module for the scheduling because it's like a drip schedule, and we don't have any of that yet. Meeting type, we can do this one. This is a taxonomy reference. And this is what allows me to separate certain courses into different set of webinars if I want. This could be unlimited, I think. All right, and a duration is an interval field. Yeah, this actually determines the duration of in actual days that if somebody registers for this course, that they have access to like the webinars and the development environment and stuff like that. You actually, all of my courses, you can watch the videos as long as you want, but the other sort of the stuff that sort of costs money or time with the webinars and stuff, they're more time limited to usually like 4 weeks or something. So this is an interval field. That's a field that we added with a contrib module in another episode. So duration. Okay, and eventually we will migrate them. I'm not going to do that today, but so let's go ahead and add the migration ID just to keep track of it. So I need an integer. Okay, so that adds those fields. Let's see, take a look at bundle. It has many of the same fields, but it has, I think there's only one field that's different, which is it has a course field, which is a multi-valued entity reference to link to all of the courses which are allowed in the bundle, or which are part of a bundle. So let's go to course types, bundle, manage fields. All right, we're going to need, actually meeting type we don't need because that will be done at the course level. But we will need a thumbnail. So that'll be an image. We will need the version, I think. We will need the paragraphs field for the long format content. And we won't need the duration. We'll get the migration ID. We don't need the duration because the registrations will be to the individual courses within the bundle. So there's not really you don't have one registration to all of them. Okay, we'll need a teaser. And I think it will still have the course length and the webinar description, just because that's part of the display of like when people see the benefits, what are they going to get when they buy this course? So I'm going to want to have that on the bundles as well. All right. So then the only other thing here, let me just make sure. I think it's just field course. Everything else I think is the same. So we'll add a field. It's an entity. It's a reference to other called courses, though I said it would be field course in the TSD. It's unlimited. Oops, that was a mistake. Forgot to switch the entity type. So I'll just do this again. Okay, so this links to a course. And a bundle shouldn't include another bundle. It should only include single courses. All right, so I think that's all the fields that we need. And so now at least we've got the data model set for the courses. So let's go look at the course sessions now. So last week we did, I did generate the course session files with Drush, but we didn't do anything to customize them. So these are just exactly, well, the only thing I did is I did put them into this module. We figured out that Drush does allow you to generate multiple entities into the single module now. So yeah, that's all we did is we just generated the files. So we need to go through and customize them now. All right, so we have, the main thing we're gonna need to do is customize let's just check up here first at the definition as it's declared. All of this regular stuff looks fine. Okay, this is the only thing I don't want them to be here at this URL. I want their URLs to be up underneath the LMS section. So we had LMS courses, so we should have LMS sessions, I think. So that was admin. LMS sessions should be where they're listed. The canonical links in the form, I think, are okay. Okay, so session, we need name, course, price, available, and status. But status is an integer, not whatever it probably created before. So let's do that. So we have actually quite a lot of those are similar to what we have in the what we have here in the course entity. So I think we can copy a bunch of these. Do we have hidden? There probably should be hidden as well, but So let's copy over name. Let me see if my old one had hidden, because it seems like something I might need, but I can't remember if I've ever used that before. I'm going to say let's go ahead and set it up. I don't know if we really need it, but so let's copy over name and hidden, and actually available should be there as well. I don't think I put it in the TSD, but it should be there. So let's copy these three. I think the setup can be pretty much the same. So we put this instead of label because the name takes the place of the label. Oh, that's one thing. Since we changed that, we probably need to go here in the definition of the entity. It should say that label is defined by the name field. Since we changed the name of this field, the machine name of it. Okay, so we have those. We need a price. Oh, I did have available here. So we have a price field, which I did create a price field for the course. It's rare that there would be one session that would be different than its course price. I don't know if it's ever happened, but I do like to keep the option available for that. And let's see, available, we already copied. And so the only other one we need is status, which we have something in here. The status here, I think, is the same. Yeah. This is the type of status we need, an integer, that because sessions can be pending, active, or archived as well. So we'll do this instead of a Boolean. Okay, and then we have a UID, which is the authored on. I think that's fine. We can leave it. Created and changed. These were created by Drush. These are fine. Okay, so now that we changed the base fields on this entity type, we need to uninstall the module and reinstall it. But I don't want to lose all those fields that I just created for the course. So I think I need to export the configuration to capture that. And let me just make sure the configuration is clean. Sometimes Drupal, even if you export the configuration, then you try to import it again, it says there's some difference. So I just want to make sure it looks like we're clean here. So we've got the entire configuration. So now if I uninstall DT course, whoops. Oh, okay. Because I did create like an example course, we have to delete them. So there is a drush entity delete, and then you give it the entity type. So drush entity delete course should delete all the courses. Then we can uninstall the module and reinstall it. Okay, so, and now I need to re-import my configuration because I've lost all those fields that I just added. But if I re-import them, they should go back on. All right, let's make sure I haven't screwed that up. Okay, so manage the fields. The fields are still here. Good. All right, so all right, so we have the sessions isn't showing up under here, but I think it's actually showing up here, but that's because we didn't customize. The URL is actually correct. Probably you can't read it. It's very small on the screen, but it's admin LMS sessions like it's supposed to be, but it's not showing up in the menu like it should. So we can fix that. Under the menu links. So we have this like course collection link. We're going to want a session collection link. Right now, there's no link. There's only the tab. So this will be under courses. So I'll make it slightly heavier than course. And we can get rid of the tab. So this is this entity session collection under the links task. YAML file is what defines the tab. So we can get rid of that. Let's clear caches. And now if I click on LMS, we have session, should say sessions. Okay, but if we click on this, oh, no. Oh, here. This links to the wrong thing. It's currently linking to the course because I copied and pasted it and didn't update it. Okay, so, all right. So now it's linking to the sessions list. And we should see the session tab is also gone out of here. Yes. All right, so we've customized that. Let's see, do we need to customize anything else? I think we probably don't. The form, at some point we'll customize the access control handler, but we're not going to get into that today because people can't access a session unless they have a registration for that session. The list builder, I'm not going to customize because I'm just going to create a view instead. So I think all that's good. Let's just create a view real quick to make so that we can have a better, well, actually, before I create a view, I should maybe go and configure the fields for the sessions because they're the session types. Because we have two session types here. There is scheduled sessions and on-demand sessions. So a scheduled session happens at a particular date or starts on a particular date. That's like most of the sessions. However, some of them are on demand, mainly like the free trials. You can start a free trial anytime you want. And so those just start whenever there's just like one free trial session and you get added to it. Okay. So, oh yeah, what were my, so I have scheduled and on underscore demand. Okay. All right, and now let's create the fields for this. So the scheduled, so this needs a field start date. And let's just go ahead and give it a field. These others is override hosting config, override lesson schedule. We'll come back and do these. The way that these are actually, most of these values get set at the course level, but then I like to have the ability to override it at a session level, like this one particular session, because it could be a private session with just, you know, one company or something, and maybe it needs a different schedule, a different pacing for the drip emails and stuff like that. And so I like to have the option to override it, but it is most of the time, it's going to just, for most public sessions, they're just going to use the values from the course. And that's what these do. There's one Boolean that says, I want to override this thing. And then there's one, the same type of field for what you want to replace it with. So I'm going to leave these out because we haven't done most of these things anyway. So we'll come back and do that later. But let's go ahead and add the field start date. So this is a date field. And for a scheduled session, this will be required. And, the migration ID is probably the only other thing we need. All right. And I think for an on-demand, we don't need anything other than the migration ID. Okay, so now we have all the fields we need at the moment anyway. So let's create a view to replace the list builder here. So I'll add a new view and another tab here. This will be, what did I call the other one? Courses admin or something? That was courses admin, so I'll call this one sessions admin. And this will show sessions, all types of sessions. We're going to create a page that's just titled sessions. It needs to have the same URL. So admin LMS sessions. It's going to show a table of up to 50 sessions using a pager. It doesn't need a menu link because we've created the menu link manually or in code. So we should restrict this to probably people. There should be something like to administer sessions or something. So, okay, so courses. Yeah, I mean, if you can edit sessions, then, because again, it's only going to be me. So if anybody who can edit sessions can see the list of them. Okay, so we have the session name. What are the other things we would want to see? We would want to see the don't know that we need to see the price because it usually is never changed. We would want to see the session type. We would want to see the start date, which may not always exist, but we would want to see the status. Author doesn't matter. Available might be useful, although I don't want it from the revision. I want it for this. Yeah, whether it's available or hidden could be useful. And I will show the ID because sometimes that's useful. And then there's one other thing, operations links. Okay, so we'll say available. And we'll make it say yes or no. Hidden, yes or no. ID, actions, type. Start date, that's fine. Wait, let's make this something short, like yeah, we'll use the short date. I think this is probably going to show us a time, but we'll come back and fix it if that's true. Status. All right. Let's rearrange these. Operations link should be at the end. Oh, we should have. Oh, did I not create course? I think I may have made a mistake here. Yeah, we need a course field. So because every session has to be for some course. So let me grab an entity reference field and add it in here. Only we're going to want this to be course. It's an entity reference. The target type will be course. We need to take out all this. That part is fine. We don't want the special author display options. Okay, we're going to have to, let's save this. Because I'm changing these base fields, I could go through, there is an update process if you really wanted to write that out, but I'm just going to do what I did a second ago and export this configuration. Uninstall the module, reinstall the module to get the new base field, and then reapply the configuration. Okay. So now if I refresh this, there should be a course. Yeah, a course field. Okay, I think that's good. We should make some of these, make it sortable by ID descending, so the newest ones show at the top. Though maybe it should also be sortable by these other things as well. Okay, if I refresh this, we should see, I can't tell yet because I gotta create one. So let's do a test. Oh, I'm gonna have to create a course first. Okay, so there's a test course. So now I should be able to create this test session, link to the course, and I'll give it a particular start date. Yeah, was there an option to have the start date not have a time? I think it was on form display and I didn't look at form display. Yeah. Oh. Date and time, date and Okay, that's a weird list of. Not a date only. Okay, we won't worry about that too much. Let's see if it lets me save it without. Nope, it's going to make me put something in. Okay. Okay, so we do have. Okay, so this is working. Not sure about why. I could have swore there was some way. Did I do this wrong when I added it? Oh, yeah. I did it wrong right there. Okay, so let's. We can delete this field and re-add it. Okay, date only. Okay, now that wiped out the date on here. Oh, actually didn't. Oh, no, that's authored on, sorry. Yeah, it did wipe out the date because I deleted the field. So there we go. Oh, it also screwed up my view. So let's add it back to the view. Okay, somehow I'm not. Somehow I'm still seeing the view did not override this. Which is weird because it worked for courses. We did the exact same thing for courses and it was fine. Just going to take one quick look at courses admin to see if there's some reason this is different. Doesn't look different. Yeah, I got the same permissions. Oh, it's disabled. Oh, okay. It must have gotten disabled because I deleted the field. Okay, there we go. Now that it's enabled, we have our view there with the additional fields. Okay, so I think that sessions is done. So now we just need to do registrations. So registration is a little bit different. There is no bundle for this. There's a registration is literally just this user, this session. It can have a start date and duration because sometimes people will want to start early or late on a course, or sometimes they say I need like an extra week and I give them an extra week. So sometimes I need to adjust the duration or start date for one particular person in the session. So it does have those, but otherwise it's just this. So, yep, all right, let's create this. So we'll do this like we did last week. We can drush gen entity content. And then the module machine name is DT course. The entity type label is registration. Entity type ID is registration. Base path. That's fine for the base path because people don't really look at it. Is it fieldable? I mean, it's probably not even really necessary for it to be fieldable, but I'll say yes. Is it revisionable? Again, probably not necessary, but I'll say yes. Translatable, definitely not necessary. Doesn't have a bundle. No subtypes. It does not need a canonical page. I'm not sure what we're going to get if I say no here, but we'll try it. I don't know if I've ever said no to the drush wizard for this one. We don't really need a page for it. Create CRUD permissions. No, because we don't really need a high level of configuration. If you can administer registrations, you can do anything to them. We don't need a label base field. I'm not going to have a status field because we will have a status field, but it'll be different. Created. I think that having created is okay. Yes. Created. And if we're doing revisions, since we said yes to revisions, we should also do changed. The author, not necessary. Did I have author? Yeah, I didn't have it in here. No, not necessary. Description base field, no. Okay, so we need to bring these files down because this got generated on the server on the dev stack. So okay. So now if we look here, we have the registration entity type. So let's go through here and check out and make sure that the definition is correct, and then we'll add our base fields. So registration, that all looks fine. Notice our label is just the ID number because we said that we didn't want to have a label or name of any kind. So it just did ID, which I think in this case is fine. The collection should be under our LMS system. So admin, LMS, registrations. All right. And so here it's got the created and changed base fields. So let's add our other base fields. So we have a user field. Some of these we already have. So let's and we can copy them. So there is a UID field already here. In this case, it's for the author. This is not really the author in this case, but that's just the difference of the label. So we'll copy that in. So this is the user. And I think, we don't want this special author treatment on the view. So this is just a straight up entity reference that links to a user. Now we need one that links to, actually I have it listed wrong here, but it should be a session. So let's just start with this entity reference. And in this case, the target type is session. And I think everything else is fine. There's nothing user specific there. And then we have a start date and a duration. So I don't think I have an example of a start date or a duration as a base field. So we're going to need to see how to create one of those. So I did show this last week, but I'll need to do it again here. If we go to the configuration exporter, I showed last week that you could create like a test field and then export it to see what all the settings are supposed to be. We already have a start date field and a duration field configured, so I'm just going to export those as an example. So if we look at like field storage, course, or no, it would be session start date. All right, so the type is date time and the setting is date time type date. And I think that's correct. I think that's still what we want here. So let's just create a new section here. This is start date is the machine name. It is a date time field. The setting, the only setting we have is date time type is date. Okay, that's what makes it date only instead of date and time. We will not have these display options because those are for entity reference. And this label is start date. Let's see if there's any other settings under field. Okay, there's no other settings here. So yeah, I think that part's fine. Yeah, I think that's enough for start date. And then next, so the other one we need is duration. So let's go back to field storage. And we do have a duration under course. This is an interval field. So we need to know the type is interval and there are no settings. Type is interval. And label is duration. There are no settings. Let's just make sure there aren't any settings under, because they can also be under here. No settings here. Okay, so I think we got that. So any other base field? Oh, we need the status field. So we have an example of that in session and course. Okay, so status. Now this one is its status. It's still a list integer. It's called status. There's only one difference here, which is it has one additional setting or one additional status, which is canceled, which I do when someone purchases a registration but then decides to cancel and I refund it or something. I only do that because the order has a link to that registration, so I don't want to delete it I want to keep it in there and say that it's canceled. All right, so that is good. The only other thing we should do is fix up those menu links because we know we're going to have that same problem like before, like we have with sessions. So let's see. Oh, we did add a list of registrations. That's weird because it didn't add it for session, but oops, let's see, registrations. I'll just call this for consistency, administer registrations. The route name, the parent link is DTUtils admin LMS, and the weight should be slightly less, so it'll be a little, or slightly greater, so it'll be a little lower. And let's see, did it add a task for it? Because if so, let's get rid of that. Because that's, yeah, let's put that under content again. And yeah, that should be enough. Let's, so we're going to do the same thing one more time. Export the configuration because we changed those base fields. Uninstall the module. Oh, yeah, we have to get rid of, and this is a good reason why you might want to have only one entity type per module, because it does make it a little tricky here when developing. But all of these are so tied together, like I feel like they should be in one module. So we need to delete all of the courses. Actually, we need to delete all the sessions first. And then we can delete all the courses. And now we can uninstall the module. All right, and now we can reinstall the module. Anytime registration does not have revision user entity reference key. Okay, so maybe we didn't change this, but maybe there's a bug in the drush generation of this. Oh, I see, because we don't have an author field. Yeah, that's weird. Like, we don't have an author field. Like, who would it be? I mean, maybe it's just like revision UID equals, what is it in the other ones? I think it's like revision UID, revision user, revision UID. Okay, so maybe, yeah, we can still maybe have a revision UID, even though we don't have a UID that's an author. Okay, so I got to uninstall and reinstall again. Okay, maybe clear caches. Yeah, so this is the really annoying thing. So Drupal crashed during the install of this module. It did not, because it crashed creating this entity type. In the process, it did not create the database table for this entity. Because it didn't do that, it now will no longer allow us to disable or uninstall this module because it can't find the table that it expects to be there now that we fixed the problem. So the only way to get around this, and this happens to me quite regularly, So this is kind of fortunate that you get a chance to see how to fix this. Is I think if we move this class out, out of the entity folder and just put it somewhere else just to store it temporarily. And I should check because I'm not sure if that actually is going to happen on the remote, if it's going to delete it on the remote host when I do that. Let's see, refresh this. Yeah, it didn't. It's still sitting here. So let me just delete it. This is on the server. Okay. So now it's no longer in the entity folder. So I think if I clear caches and then try to uninstall, it should allow me to uninstall because it won't think it needs to uninstall the registration type, entity type. Oh, great. It broke on all of them. So I've got to do the same thing. So actually, maybe what I should just do is put this back in there. And then rename this. Just whatever, so it's not entity. And then let's go up because I think that's may not have happened exactly the same on the server. Yeah, so let's delete the entity one. And the files are there. Oh, they're not there. Well, let's be careful. Okay, delete that one. Because we have everything here. And now let's see if I can uninstall. So it crashed doing all the entity types. Okay. So rename this and let's make sure it's uploaded to the dev stack. There it is. And the dev stack shouldn't have this anymore. Okay. Now can I enable it? All right. No crash. So now I need to reapply my configuration. All right, so let's see if we broke everything. All right, so we have courses, sessions. The new registration link is here. That looks good. I think the only thing that we need to do now is make, oh, I think there's two things. One, oh, a couple things actually. One, I want to, this is a fieldable entity type. So there is a place to do that, to configure the registrations. It put it by default under structure. And this is where you can manage fields and whatnot. So we should fix that because it should be under the LMS. So that is, what is the actual URL? So the URL is admin structure, which I don't want. So that's here in routing. So the settings, so this should be admin LMS config. Is that what I have? Yeah. Admin LMS config registration. And I'll just say registration settings is the name of this page, and then I need to fix the menu. So the registration settings should be interesting. Where? Oh yeah, because it's the other ones are because they have bundles. It's the bundle type collection. So in any case, I just want it underneath the config, the same like the other. Okay, and so now I have configuration. Sorry, this should be like registration settings. And then kind of would like this a little bit lower than the others. So let's add a weight to it. Okay, registration settings. There we go. Now it's linked up correctly. There was one field we needed to add here, which was the migration ID. So I'll just add it. Okay, so the only thing we might want to add is a view. So again, let's just create a test course. And then we'll create a test session for that course. We will have to give it a start date. And now let's go to registrations. We should be able to add a registration. It's for this particular session. So DT admin is me. So I'll just make it for me. And I don't have the start date. Let's go under manage form display. Okay, because I didn't set a display configuration, that happened because here under the base fields, I didn't set any settings for the form display, such as like here, set display settings for the form. Because I didn't set any, it hid it by default. It's not a big deal because I'm not distributing this module. All I really need to do is just drag it up here. Because once we export this configuration, then it'll remember it as part of this site anyway. All right, so let's go back to registrations, edit this. So now we have the duration. So typical duration is something like 29 days. And then, the status might be pending and it might have a start date again, the same as that session. So the only thing I want to do here is put some of that information right here on this view. So let's add a new view. Oh wait, what did I do before? Courses admin. Yeah. So registration admin, and this will show registration entities. Needs to have the same URL. It's a table of up to 50 with a pager. So ID, that's fine. Let's add the duration, operations links, session, start date, status, user. That should be fine. Okay, let's rearrange these. So it should probably be ID session user start date duration status operations links. Okay, so that looks good. Let's just add some click sorting. So by default, maybe the most recent registrations at the top, but you could click sort by any of these, seems reasonable. And we do need to put some kind of permission on this. So again, we'll just do like, there should be edit registrations or something. Oh, actually, we didn't create the CRUD settings. So it doesn't have that, but it does have administer registration settings, which is not exactly the same thing. But I'll put it there for now. Well, we can go make it. Let's just add one here. So what we really want, because it's really easy to do here in DT course permissions, we want like administer registrations. And this should really be like administer registration settings. So if we clear caches, we should be able to go back and change this view now. There should be an option for administer registrations, which looks fine. All right, and if I look at registrations now, okay, that looks good. Okay, so just take one last look here at the TSD. We do have a few minutes, so let me just do one other thing that I didn't totally finish up, which is under the manage form display. I don't know if I actually set the settings for these. So let's just go ahead and configure this. So this is for courses, like what do I want the form to be? Like the author is like totally irrelevant. So we'll hide that. But status is important. Authored on is also not important to set, so we can get that out of here. Where is content? Yeah, content. Okay, so status, weight, price, supported versions, teaser content, teaser thumbnail content. Meeting type, duration. Yeah, we can set the allowed periods here because we don't need like fortnights and everything listed. I do everything in days for this. So I think we can just set it to days, which then, then it'll be defaulted to that. And I don't even really need to see migration ID. So I think we can get that out of there. And we'll do the same thing. I'm not going to worry about manage display because we're going to customize the whole template and everything anyway. But let's do for bundle the same thing. So we don't need author. Don't need authored on. We do need status. And then I think I had content at the bottom. Migration ID I had hidden, so we'll put that in disabled. Okay, this is layout paragraphs. Everything else I think is fine. And I'm just going to do the same thing for session types real quick. Because again, we don't need authored on or author or migration ID to really be shown. But we do need status. Okay, that's fine. That was for on demand. So we'll do scheduled. And then I can't remember if we already did registration. Let's just check. No, we didn't. Okay, so let's do the same thing for registration, and then we'll be done for today. So user, session, start date, duration, status. That looks good. Oh, duration, I should limit it to just days. And I don't think I did that back here. Oh, I didn't put the duration here because it's one of those override fields. Okay, so we don't need to do it yet. All right, so I think that's good. Let me just, to wrap this up, of course, we need to export that configuration so I don't lose it. All right, and so I think that is it. So that gets us, yeah. So now we've gotten through, basically we've got enough that we can start to migrate some of the content over for sessions and registrations. And we can start to use this to link into the other parts of the system, like hosting or drip emails and stuff like that. Now that we've got these fundamental pieces in there, we can add those other pieces in. Yep. So we'll wrap it up there. Again, just a reminder that if you're not already subscribed, or if you want to watch all of the previous sessions, either this recording or previous recordings, go to DrupalTutor.com/live. Everything's listed there, and there's a form to subscribe by email so that you know what we'll be working on every week. Again, my name is Wayne Aker. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week.